Hey friends, this is not a snow day. Day 74 of social distancing quarantine here in southeastern Michigan. I am Kevin Ozar. This is my daily, every weekday YouTube channel in which we've talked about homeschooling, we've talked about parenting, we've talked about being, and it is episode 52. It's funny. I used to have this really long list of things that I wanted to talk about on this, and I couldn't wait to get to some subjects, and I even combined some. I did 2 or 3 things per, and I always knew that there would come a day when I didn't know what I was going to talk about. Today's not that day, but I woke up and I thought today was that day. And I was like, man, what am I going to talk about? And I jumped on Twitter, and I read the newspapers that I read digitally, and I watched the videos, and I got this idea about a show I wanted to do today and talk to adults who are spending time with young people. And then I was like, nah, that's too much. It's don't do that, Kevin. And so I put that idea aside, and I had class, and I had a meeting, and I had another meeting, and I had a phone call, and I sent some emails, and I'm thinking, right, I got this deadline coming up, and I had one idea. I didn't run out of ideas today. I just didn't know if I wanted to do this idea. And I think I have to take my own advice. And so hopefully you can track how this goes through, because I think I need to have a hard conversation with you, friends. And it feels a little uncomfortable, and it feels a little awkward, and I kind of want to avoid it. And what I want to say is it's important to have hard conversations with your kids, even if you don't know exactly what you're going to say. Usually I've got some notes. So here's the camera down the tripod. I have some notes right here. There's nothing here right now. But I know what I want to say. I want to say that we are at a point in history where we have a few things we've never had before. We have so many cameras, and we have the ability to watch the world from other people's perspectives in a pretty objective way, not purely objective, but a pretty objective point of view way, that we are able to see what's happening all over the world to and with and by people we would have never even known existed. And social media and digital progress and phones have made that possible. The other thing that we have is an unprecedented amount of access to other people's stories, right? But time to process them, because we've had that for a couple years. Now what we have is all of this time literally locked with the next generation and with our peers. And we have the ability to dialogue. We have the ability to focus on things and to not get distracted by the grind that is work and the distraction that is things that I love, like sports. We have right now time and information, and we have opportunity. And I want to implore the human beings who are watching this, for the sake of the human beings that are sharing space with you, that we need to start having some tough conversations about the world we live in, and what is okay and what is not okay, and what to do when something's not okay, and how to use your voice, and how to affect change. I'm going to work really hard to not tell you what issue I think you need to talk to your kids about, or to your neighbors about, or to your peer group about, because that's not my place. I want to call you today to talk. Yesterday, my wife was having an extremely hard day, totally appropriate on every front. And if we didn't have COVID-19, yesterday would have been a hard day, and it was a hard day. And so she loves the Lavender Latte from Great Lakes Roasting Company in downtown Detroit on Woodward. Is her favorite coffee, and because supporting local businesses is important, and because I love an opportunity to get out of the house, and because maybe I'm not a bad guy, I was like, hey, babe, I'll get that. And so I called upstairs to my girls. I was like, hey, I'm going to make a run downtown. Does anybody want to come? And my oldest, kind of to my surprise, about to be in high school, was like, yeah, I'll go. So we hopped in the car and we just started driving downtown. 15-minute drive from my house to the center of Detroit. And it was quiet. I was like, hey, why don't you run the aux cord for me? And so she was playing music that she wanted me to listen to. And I realized her playlist was actually completely informed by things she'd heard around our house. So if you don't think you're influential, you're lying to yourself. Maybe you're trying to get yourself off the hook, but you're really influential. And one of the songs talked about what happens when you die. And we, as an extended family, are in the process of saying goodbye to a loved one who's very much not healthy. And someone had to go say goodbye. And one of our conversations as a family of adults was, how do we let a very, very small human, under 3, what do we communicate about losing a close relative? And my kids have been hearing all this, but we haven't included any of it. So I just turned to my daughter. I was like, hey, what do you think happens when we die? We never talked about it. We never had the time to talk about it. And we kind of kicked that idea around. And she asked me, and I told her my honest answer. And she told me her honest answer, and she kind of revised it. We kicked it around, and it was beautiful. It's a highlight, quarantine or not. I don't know when I would have had that conversation with her if I didn't have the time to run downtown. If I was coming home from work at 5 and I had all that stuff to do and a list in my head, and she had her homework and play practice. And so I would like to ask you to take the 2 deep breaths and begin to have some conversations about what's happening in the world. And start actively sharing in values with your kids. And whoever else you might be at home with. I'm kind of paranoid. I've got something in my nose. Let me check here. I don't. And maybe it's political. Maybe it's something around issues like race or gender, about the way we can or cannot talk to people, the way we should or shouldn't talk to people, about how we post things or don't on social media. And I want to remind you of something that we've talked about a lot on this show, and something I say to teachers and to parents and to friends all the time, which is, it is okay to not know, and then to work on an answer. And I think if our kids can hear us say, I don't know, around the stuff that really matters, and witness us moving to find an answer, or to find something that feels like an answer or feels more comfortable, or rights a wrong in the process, then that is how we don't fall behind as a society. And so maybe your school lessons now become a little bit more conversations around the big issues and what's important to your family, and what to do with that, and how to live out those values. And so I guess I'm asking you to have some hard conversations. And I'm going to keep trying to have them at home. And I'm happy I had one here with you. I'm legit sweating doing this. This is not a fun one. That's not true. It is fun. It's just a little uncomfortable. And it's okay to be uncomfortable, because there are people who are uncomfortable all the time in this world. And if we can help make everybody more comfortable and healthier and safer and living with equal opportunity to be happy and healthy and safe, then that's an education. And nobody falls behind, regardless of math facts or punctuating dialogue. So that's what I think I wanted to say. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I appreciate each and every one of you taking 10 minutes out of your day to spend a little time with what's going on with me. If you like these, you can subscribe. If you really like this, give it a thumbs up. If you needed to hear this, chances are somebody else did too. So feel free to share this on whatever platform you have. And then have some hard talks. Stay healthy, and let's take care of ourselves so we can take care of others. Thanks so much.